According to Korn Ferry, among the S&P 500, about 80% of all CEO transitions are promoted from within the company. Other executive research firms also confirmed internal CEO appointment hits all-time high. So why are internal hires become a more preferred option for C-suite positions? One reason is the risk associated with external versus internal candidates. Organizations nowadays are becoming more risk-averse because of so many unprecedented challenges in recent years. The senior executive team and the board are managing their own uncertainties and anxieties around these challenges. Therefore, they are more likely to want to promote executives from within as an effort to risk themselves. Typically, internal candidates are safer options because they are known to the top leadership team and to the board. They've already worked with various stakeholders. They understand the organization's context, culture, way of working. The second reason is speed. With these relationships already established, they can hit the ground and running. They don't need 6 months or 1 year to get introduced to the business, culture, and stakeholders. Not only that, external candidates take much longer also because of the hiring process, a long notice period, and a very possible non-compete agreement with their former employer. One of the pharmaceutical leader Bayer is a case on the point. Its former CEO was replaced by the current CEO, Bill Anderson. The selection process began in mid-2022, and it took almost 1 year for the new CEO to be appointed. And the third reason is the cost. Hiring a C-suite executive externally costs much more than promoting internally because of the recruitment fees, onboarding expenses, higher salary negotiations, and the longer integration period and culture adaptation is a cost itself as well. Now, up until now, you might feel very positive to get that C-suite promotion inside the organization. If that's you, then this video is for you because I want to share with you how to approach internal job promotion or application to C-suite positions. In case you are new here, hi, my name is Tiffany. I'm the former vice president of communication at 2 largest Swedish companies by market cap. On this channel, we discuss how to advance from middle management to senior executive positions in large organizations. So subscribe if you want more content like this in the future. Before we start to share how to apply for these opportunities internally, you need to understand that not every promotion opportunity involves fair competition. In reality, over half of these open positions are often already predetermined, meaning the chosen candidate for these positions have already been decided before the recruitment process even begins. And in executive selections, this number could be much, much higher. Even if there is a fair and transparent process, if you do not have a strong sponsor or pre-existing relationship with the hiring manager, your chance of getting that position will be lower. So first step, you need to understand your organizational culture and context to evaluate if these openings are not false openings, or if the position you are targeting has already been secretly filled. After you've done your homework, and if the hiring manager is genuinely opening this position and they want to look for the best fit, internally or externally, with no candidates already being pre-selected. Now, here are the 5 things you want to do. First, don't assume that being an internal candidate gives you an advantage. Honestly, there's no guarantee here at all. If the hiring manager is really looking to bring the best candidate, the competition will be fierce. Here, when I say competition, it's not just about the number of people who applied for the job. It is more about the candidates who are equally competent and qualified as you. They are also shortlisted for the interview. Even if you are also invited to the job interview, don't rest and assume that you already have the advantage. Don't assume that they already know you and your track records. No one knows your story better than you, so be sure to rewrite your resume and tell a compelling narrative that brands you for the next position. Plan your conversations with all the relevant stakeholders, including HR business partner, the hiring manager, the predecessor of the role, and the peers this position will work closely with. The purpose of having this conversation is to understand what is not said in the job description. So when you walk into the job interview, you are way more prepared compared to those who only read the job description but didn't study the job, the stakeholders, the history of the job, and the expectations. I can honestly share with you, not just from my own experience, but from every member who has succeeded in getting internal promotions to executive positions in my coaching program, that the level of their preparation for getting the stakeholder insights, strategic alignment, interview process, assessment, and interview assignments is intensive. It's no less than taking on a second full-time job. And this entire process takes between 3 to 6 months, so it's a marathon. Some of you might be asking right now, should I tell my manager that I am applying for the position? Sure, you can apply to any internal position without telling anyone, but honesty is the best policy. Not only because your manager will find out anyways eventually, but also because they could serve as a key reference or advocate in the process. No manager wants to know that their team member is looking for a new role from somebody else. It is more respectful to inform and even involve them directly so they can hear the story from you. This allows you to control the narrative, because if your manager hears it from somebody else, the story could be misinterpreted, and the story will probably no longer be in your favor. This is particularly important in senior executive positions because your manager may become an important ally or even sit in the management team that you are about to join. Their opinion carries weight in the hiring decision as well, especially if they are a respected executive themselves. Throughout my career, I've been very fortunate to have a few very supportive managers. They not only backed my internal job promotion, but they were actively advocating for me. So when I succeeded, not only were they getting the recognition for identifying talents in the organization, but they earned my loyalty and my sponsorship when we worked together as peers. When they need my political capital, need my support, I was very generous with them as well. In some cases, your manager might not be supportive. Then you want to discuss with the hiring manager or the HR business partner to see if they could keep your application confidential until the time is right to tell. However, be mindful that in some organizations, it's a policy the managers need to be informed when you apply for any opportunities internally. So you really want to understand your company's culture and recruitment policies in this regard. Next, promotion to the top is not about what you know, who you know, but about who knows you. Before I was promoted to the vice president, I spent 8 years as a director. I have always worked very hard and I consistently deliver the results. I have developed a really good team as well. My performance review was always exceeding expectations. Yes, I have also got a lot of leadership trainings that my company has invested in me. But one thing I really wanted was a promotion to the executive level. So I raised this with my manager. I was confident in the case that I built for my promotion. To my surprise, I was rejected. And this is what my manager told me at the time. I am not questioning your performance. In fact, you are like my delivery guy. Every time I open the door, your delivery is there. You are always productive and you are consistently bringing results. But to be considered seriously for a more senior role, you need to gain the support from more people in the company, especially influential leaders who can speak to your work and advocate for you when you are not in the room. My voice alone is not enough to get you into these executive positions. You need a network of champions. As I was hearing these words, something clicked. I was given the secret ingredient that many of us miss when we lose out on opportunities. In a perfect world, performance and competence alone should be enough. Just like the days we were in school, right? Where we get scores. Higher scores means higher rewards and more recognition. This could also work in early and mid stage of our career because more performance normally leads to more promotions in the early and mid stage of our career. But this is not going to work going from mid to top executive promotions. There are 3 stages of advancing your career from junior to top executive. Stage 1 is what you know. Stage 2 is who you know. And stage 3 is who knows you. Transitioning from middle management to senior executive is the most challenging phase in many people's career. By this point, you have become a well-rounded leader. You lead a team with 20 years of strong track records. You are a high performer in your subject matter, whether it's about supply chain management, FP&A process, product launches, or develop large language models. Very likely you have done it all and seen it all. Now you feel ready to lead a larger team or a business unit. But being good at what you know and who you know is no longer enough. To make this big leap in your career from middle to top, you will need sponsors, allies, multiple layers of influential leaders who can advocate for you. A word on sponsors. Never rely on just one sponsor. Not everyone willing to advocate for you has the ability to influence and be in the right corner. That's reason number 1. The second reason is with constant organizational changes, You do not want to put all your eggs in one basket in case of your one and only sponsor leaves their position. You really do not want to end up in a situation where all the promises, agreed upon promotions, disappear just because one person changed job. Now, I made an entire video about how to get sponsors. You can watch it here. Building relationships with internal sponsors means that you have senior executives who will be in the room where these recruiting decisions are being made. They can advocate for you when you are not present. Actually, you will not be present in almost all of these discussions anyways. And not only do they need to strongly believe in you, but they also need to believe that your advancement in your career will enhance their own reputation and prove their ability to identify future leaders. You need to find the balance between these two extremes in order to get things done, especially when it comes to aligning the organization around critical initiatives, transformations that requires major changes on a large scale. Next is to build coalition. We all know how important it is to influence without authority, but unfortunately, most people still get things done through command and control. These changes can have large impact and consequences, not just on revenue and profitability, but also on customers, employees, and business partners. Walking this fine line requires the ability to collaborate with other key stakeholders in the organization, influence them, and build partnership across business units and geographies. If you are a seasoned leader, you don't want to be told what to do. Instead, you want to be influenced and inspired. My first promotion to senior executive positions was a transition from a global director. At the time, I was working in our global headquarters in Europe to the vice president of managing region Asia. I didn't believe that I got that promotion because of my competence in marketing was so much stronger than all the other candidates who also want this position. Looking back, I think one of the most important factors contributing to this promotion was the challenge at the time the company needed, because we needed a fundamental shift in product development, manufacturing, sourcing, sales, and marketing to localize the product for Asian markets, especially for China, because it was undergoing an underperformance issue. The region was under-resourced in terms of people, competence, and marketing budget. Most of our Asian regions have always been lean, especially in support functions, while we were quite heavily invested in operations and sales resources, but not in marketing, human resources, for example. The critical competence for this position that I was promoted to was not about building up resources by hiring or asking for a larger budget, because the region was already underperforming. So what it really needed at the time was someone who could pull in large amount of resources from other regions and the global headquarters to fill the immediate needs and build up long-term competence and capabilities without dramatically increasing the cost. One of my leverages was my network across the world from the time I was working in global functions. So I put together a team from North America, EMEA, and global functions within weeks to support large projects and strategic focus areas for the Asia regions. If you ask me honestly if I was the strongest in terms of Asia business understanding, probably not. I've already lived in Europe about 8 years at that time. And was I the best in terms of track records in product marketing? Probably not as well. I don't think so. But looking back, I feel the reason that I become the top choice for that position was my ability to build coalitions and foster a collaborative culture across geolocations and functions. This is what really differentiates you on top of the performance and the result driven. That is to be able to establish a collaborative culture through openness, a shared vision, and a long-term benefits, even at short-term cost. You need to bring people together across boundaries to achieve that result. Next is that you need to manage your reputation and perception to serve you as a senior leader. You can start by asking yourself these two questions. First is, what do I want my key stakeholders to say about me when I'm not in the room? And this is your desired image. The second question you can ask yourself is, what am I concerned that my key stakeholders might say about me when I am not in the room? This answer is your undesired image. You can also ask someone else to give you that feedback because honestly, being ourselves, it is quite difficult to see our own blind spots. So, for example, a member of my coaching program, the 1% Academy, he is applying for an internal promotion to vice president position. One critical finding is that when he was talking with the senior vice president, he was sharing way too many operational details. For example, numbers, how he managed this project, his team. This image of being very well prepared, being professional, knowledgeable, know his work, did not serve him at all when he actually talked with the senior vice president. And it did not help the senior vice president to see him in the next level. Because the SVP only wants to know if everything is going well and if any support is needed, not how he is managing his work. I have a specific process for myself to get vice president promotions at one of the Fortune 500 companies with over 100,000 employees. I have put all the steps in a free training. You can watch it and sign up at inspiremyday.org/masterclass. It is completely free. For now, I'll leave you with this video to find out how to change your reputation at work. I'll see you there.